Hello, everybody. We're so happy to see you.
Yes, and we're so happy to be in the same moment in time, same exact zip code, even though not same physical place.
Yes. And, we just wanted to kind of share a little update about where we are with things and what that means for our ability to interact with all of you.
Yes, and so we have got some fun stuff going on in the work horizon, some family stuff, as y'all's heard about, that we're trying to navigate. And then also, as Dr. Jen and I were talking, we're like, this is a moment in time where the world has a lot going on. And so when we think about feeling good now and in the long haul, one of the reasons why we're excited to do that together and with each of you is so that you can have the energy to go after the things that are calling your heart and your conscience. And that's a little bit of what we are going to balance in the months ahead.
Yeah. So I love the way you phrase that. I think that, we would be amiss to not practice a little bit of what we preach. And so at a time where we feel like things are a little heavy for a lot of reasons, some very positive reasons and some not so positive reasons. And so I think just taking a minute to kind of for us to realign so we can continue to come back and share with all of you what we're learning, what we're seeing, participate in conversations. I think it is important for us to be able to take a deep breath for a couple of weeks and get that kind of mapped out and have the bandwidth to deal with kind of the things outside of this that have arisen uh, acutely and chronically over the last little bit.
Calling our conscience as well as our hearts. And so, the way that we're going to tackle this tactically is we're going to go to an every other week cadence. And so that gives us time to make sure I've got a rhythm and a consistency that you can expect and still be plugged into what is time sensitive while also creating space for Dr. Jen and I together and then individually to tackle the things that are on the important and urgent quadrant. So it is urgent, but also important that we're trying to look at over the next 6 months, call it now to November. And so we will go to an every other week cadence to support that. And what we will also do is let you know as we get into each episode what's coming up next. So you can get a sense for where do you want to make sure to plug time to plug in with us.
Absolutely. And I think, with that kind of creating a great lineup of guests to come in and kind of broaden our perspective on things and share some of their expertise, dive into some of the things that I think are affecting all of us day to day and how we weather these storms, good and bad. I don't want to, right before we started recording, Linz and I debriefed a little bit, and like the world's heavy right now. The world's heavy right
Yes.
now. I think it's real heavy for women, and we don't want to deny, gloss over, or sugarcoat any of that. And I think, but at the same time, I think it's important that we have the time and space and energy to deliver really what you all deserve. And so I think that just plays into some of our reset timing to kind of come back with a really organized plan to maybe help some of this feel a little more navigatable. Is that a word?
That is, it is. It's right there with fixable. Those are all the,
Okay,
those
yeah,
are
I'm
the,
not sure
yeah,
navigatable. Anyway, I'm going
yeah,
to make up a word tonight
yes.
too.
I like that. Yes. Yes, totally. Yes.
But I think that we just debriefed for about an hour, and I think there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to handle and tackle, and to make sure that we can give you that in the right cadence and at the right pace for all of
Mhm.
us.
Yeah. Yeah. And so some of the stuff that's on the near term horizon, we're coming into what we think of as tax season. And so one of the near term episodes that we'll tackle is how to fund your high half. So we've talked about this in kind of a summary context, but it's important for us all to get into the next level of detail without being financial planners and advisors. We can give you some of the specifics that you need to think about so that you can ask your experts the right questions so that you set yourself up to have resources to stay healthy and to stay engaged and to savor and thrive, which is what our underlying theme is how to thrive. So that episode will be coming up April the 8th. It's right before tax day. And then another one kind of related to that will be around thinking about your work and how to go out into the workforce if you've taken either some time off or you've changed your cadence of work or you've changed your lane of work. So those are two episodes that are upcoming that are around being in service of you, being able to fund your high half and feel engaged and enjoy that while you're funding it.
And then I think some other things coming down the pipeline after we tackle those two topics. Definitely want to come back to some female physiology and heart health with the new 2026 guidelines that were just released by the American Heart Association as far as cholesterol screenings and treatment, much different risk factors, much different scoring systems, and much more aggressive treatment plans, and actually some female specific planning, especially through menopause, as we have a better understanding of those changes and how those have been incorporated into guidelines. And then also kind of returning to our multi-part series on sexual wellness and having another expert join us there just to continue that discussion. As we all know, it's such an important part of health, physical health, emotional health, social health, that we want to make sure that we complete that series. So all of this really great and exciting stuff coming down the pipeline, hopefully at a cadence that everyone feels that it's good and digestible as well.
Yeah. Okay, that was just a random thing that popped in my head. Also, Dr. Jim, when you were talking about heart health, and this is kind of maybe more just like a little public service announcement reminder, is that if you or someone in your family is feeling off, to take it seriously. Like, don't just try to muscle through it. So, Dr. Jen and I both just kind of lived through two situations. One was a dear friend's 60-year-old birthday. He was just not talking well. And luckily, his wife had the presence of mind to quickly call 911. So that's seeing that there was a stroke and there was an event happening. But I think many of us would have just been like, oh, he's not feeling great, or he must be depressed. I'm not going to really pay attention to it. Luckily, she paid attention to it very quickly. And then the second one is our son, our high school kiddo, was having some abdominal pain, and it was much more serious than he wanted to admit to. So more of a PSA to just say, if you're not feeling great, 90% of the time it's going to be fine. But for the 10% that it's not, you might as well treat it like it's critical and go in and just take care of your health and the health of the ones you love by immediate attention.
Yep. I thank you for that, and advocate for yourself, and I think we've talked about that a lot, especially as women. Symptoms can be dismissed by healthcare professionals, or we don't check every box that fits on their diagnostic charts. And so sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And so just if you know yourself, if you're feeling off, be your own best advocate.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
So, in the spirit of being our advocates, we're going to take time so that Dr. Jen and I can work on some things together and bring it to you, and then work on some things that we're tackling. And we invite you to do the same. And we will see you every other week as we go forward for the next 6 months.
We'll talk to you all soon. Thank so much.
Thank you.